Right, today we're covering the asset information worksheet. Say you're the advisor who has a client, you're looking to place that client into an asset or an investment not yet on our platform, or say you're the investment sponsor and you're looking to add your product to our platform, making it available to the investors you send our way. We use this worksheet, again, called the asset information worksheet. It's part of our onboarding process. Happy to say it's short and simple. And this document here will get you through the paperwork part of it and allows us to process and onboard the investments. So we're going to go through this section by section just to make sure there's an understanding of what we're looking for, what everything means, and how we proceed with the onboarding of the investment. Section 1, asset details. Asset name, this is the name you're looking for that would be listed on the offering document. So we're looking for this name here in this field to match what the investment's name is on the offering documents, PPM, subdocs, whatever it may be. Share class, if applicable, this, of course, A shares, preferred shares, whatever it may be, if it applies to the investment. Current value per unit or share. So we're looking for this. Is it unitized, yes or no? So is your investment sold by the unit? Is there a specific price per unit? If so, yes. List that price per unit here in this box. Say if the investment is a note or maybe just a general private placement that doesn't have a specific unit that is sold, more so it is just per lump sum investment, then you would select, or the sponsor rather would select no. In which case we list it as a price of $1 per unit. It's simply just a administrative placekeeper. We are simply using that value to allow us to take different iterations or different values of investments without having to affect any kind of price per unit. Again, so if it's a unitized investment that has shares or units with a price tied to that share or unit, select yes here. If not, select no, and we will proceed without a price. Date current value determined. So if you have yes, you select yes, there's a price of, let's say, $1,000 per unit. What is that valuation date? When did that value of that price happen or occur? You're looking to determine when exactly we need to place in our system the fair market valuation date of the investment being onboarded. If there isn't a specific date, you can always list today or the day you submit the paperwork. If there is, of course, please list this date here. We need to make sure it is a current valuation date because we do, per the IRS, require it be updated at least once a year. Moving on to asset type. So what type of investment is this asset? Is it a REIT, a real estate investment trust? Is it an LP opportunity? Is it an LLC? Is it an LLC that's offering debt, like a debt offering here? We have convertible notes, private stock, and of course other for anything unique beyond those fields. Organized in the state of, so typically we see Delaware, but of course wherever the investment is organized, we're looking for the state here, as we want to make sure we can pull the registration of the entity and ensure it's registered in the state and in good standing. These apply more to the notes per se, so interest rates and maturity dates. We love to have that information here. And then if there's a closing date, so we understand a lot of the investments are working towards a deadline, working towards a closing date, a funding date, whatever it may be. We'd love to be made aware of that. We want to make sure we're working in a time-sensitive manner to ensure every investment makes it in time. Section 2, issuer or investment company contact. So the next couple sections are simply just contact information we're requesting regarding individuals that are with the investment sponsor. In this case, Section 2, that's this field here, looking for if it's an individual that is kind of the go-to person at that issuing company. Who is the issuing company? Who is that individual? Their contact information. This is the individual we would reach out to should there be any questions regarding the investment or anything like that. Section 3, pricing contact. Now in some scenarios, this is the same person. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there is a third party doing the next few things for the issuer, or sometimes it's the same individual. But we do want to know the contact we reach out for regarding pricing information. Here, can the valuation of this asset be obtained through DST, meaning the essentially that data aggregator that has a bunch of different investments that are listed with prices daily, with asset holders, values of their investments. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of investments in terms of obtaining daily valuations. If you're a part of DST, select yes. If not, select no, no problem. Moving on to section 4, transfer/sell context. So in this case, sometimes it's a transfer agent. For some investment sponsors, again, it's the same individual from sections 2 and 3. Essentially, who do we reach out to should there ever be a change in registration of the investment's name? Say your client or your investor came from a different custodian, they're moving over an asset to NuView, and we need to re-register the titling of that to NuView custody. This is the individual or group contact that we're reaching out to send that updated registration information and who we reach out and work with to get that taken care of. Section 5, documents required to review a non-public asset. So on top of this asset information worksheet, we utilize your offering documents to onboard the investment. Now, depending on the type of investment you are looking to onboard, we have different types of documents required that we do review to onboard the asset. And yeah, here are the options here in section 5. Section 6, what are the funding instructions for the investment? So if you are the investment sponsor and you only allow funds to be sent via ACH or wire, we are looking to obtain that information here as we do check it against the purchase paperwork the client provides, because we do want to make sure it matches and they're sending funds to the right place. If it's a check, here is the checking information where we send it to, how we send it, and yeah. So will this investment accept non-qualified funds, meaning non-retirement? So does the investment allow non-qualified, like non-IRA, non-retirement investors? And a lot of the time it's yes, of course. Sometimes it's no. They just say it's a fund strictly for retirement investments, retirement monies. But the idea here is to make sure we are not funding an investment via a non-qualified account for an investment sponsor that does not allow it, or vice versa. So number 7, how are IRA administrative fees going to be paid? Select 1. So each IRA investor will be responsible for their own fees as the most common option, but we do see scenarios where the investment sponsor is offering to cover fees for a certain amount of time, either the first year or the life of the account, whatever it may be, in which case the investment sponsor selects this box here. And we do, if we do not have one on file yet, we do reach out for a third-party billing registration, essentially just to make sure we have the information to bill the sponsor for the clients that are going into their deal. Moving through section 8, acknowledgement, and continuing on to the next page, this is the section where we are looking to establish our role as the sponsor, your role as our role as the custodian, your role as the investment sponsor, what we are capable of doing, what we are incapable of doing, and vice versa with you as a sponsor. Moving on to section 9, custodial agreement for agency accounts. So say you do allow the funds to come from a non-qualified account here at NuView. Section 9, we are looking to obtain that initial that you acknowledge our role rather in the producing of annual IRS forms. Now, of course, we do that on behalf of the retirement accounts here as part of our custodian services, but for the non-qual custodial accounts, the non-qualified, we put it to as far as non-qualified custodial accounts go, we want to ensure it's acknowledged that the obtaining of those documents is between the account owner and the investment sponsor, as we are unable to do that on behalf of their account. Again, we do for retirement accounts, not for the non-qualified non-retirement accounts. And then lastly, section 10 is a signature, authorized signature. Essentially, typically it's a fund manager or just someone who has the ability to, or the authority to allow us to onboard the investment onto our platform. The sheet we're looking at here is the last page of the document. This is our delivery instructions. So how and where to send funds to NuView for the benefit of one of your investors. Say it's time to send a dividend out to your investors. This is how you do it if you want to send it via wire, if you want to send it via check, how to make checks payable, how to include information about the clients, so on and so forth. And that is it. Again, the process to onboard the investment is the obtaining and completion of this asset information worksheet from one of our relationship managers, and sending it back along with your offering documents, PPM, subdocs, operating agreement, whatever pertains to your investment. And from there, it takes about 2 to 3 business days for it to be reviewed. If there are any questions from my team as they onboard the investment, we do reach out and ensure we get everything onboarded in a timely manner.